Before music players existed, music was something you had to be near. If you wanted to hear a song, someone had to perform it. A musician needed to be present, an instrument had to be played, and the sound disappeared the moment it ended. For most of human history, music was temporary. It lived only in the room where it was created. That changed in 1877 when Thomas Edison introduced the phonograph. For the first time, sound could be recorded and played back. Voices, instruments, and songs no longer vanished forever after performance. They could return. It is difficult to imagine how radical that felt. For thousands of years, sound had died the moment it was made. Now it could survive. Early phonographs were crude and expensive, using cylinders with limited audio quality. But they proved an extraordinary idea. Music no longer required a musician in the room. By the late 1800s and early 1900s, flat disc records gradually replaced cylinders. They were easier to manufacture, easier to store, and better suited for a growing consumer market. Gramophones entered homes, cafes, dance halls, and public spaces. Music was becoming a product. Families gathered around record players much as later generations would gather around televisions. People built collections. Artists reached listeners they would never meet. Songs could now travel farther than performers ever could. Then came radio. During the 1920s, broadcast radio transformed how people discovered music. Instead of purchasing every song individually, households could hear orchestras, singers, news, comedy, and live performances through a single machine. Music was no longer only owned, it was shared. Entire nations listened together. Popular songs spread quickly, voices became famous through sound alone. Yet listeners still wanted control. Radio gave access but not choice. You listened to what was being broadcast when it was being broadcast. That desire to choose would shape every future music player. In 1948, the long-playing vinyl record, or LP, entered the market. It could hold far more music than earlier formats and helped establish the modern album. Artists could create longer, more immersive listening experiences rather than collections of short singles. Vinyl also created ritual. You removed the record carefully, placed it on the turntable, lowered the needle, and listened with intention. Artwork, liner notes, and sequencing all became part of the experience. Then portability entered the story. In 1963, the compact cassette was introduced. Smaller, more durable, and recordable, it allowed music to move into cars, bedrooms, backpacks, and daily routines. People made mixtapes for friends, relationships, and road trips. Music became personal. Then came one of the most iconic devices ever made. In 1979, Sony released the Walkman. It was small enough to carry, private enough to transform listening, and simple enough to become a global phenomenon. For the first time, millions of people could move through the world with their own soundtrack. The city changed, exercise changed, travel changed, loneliness changed. Ordinary moments suddenly felt cinematic. Then the digital era arrived. In 1982, the compact disc entered the market. Compact discs promised cleaner sound, no rewinding, greater durability than tape, and a futuristic look that fit the electronic age. By the late 1980s and throughout the 1990s, compact disc players were everywhere. Homes had stereo systems, cars had disc players, and portable devices such as the Discman followed people wherever they went. Collections grew again, shelves filled with jewel cases, booklets included lyrics and artwork. Buying an album still felt like owning something meaningful, but now it felt modern. Yet another disruption was already forming. During the 1990s, compressed digital formats such as MP3 made it possible to store music as computer files. Entire collections could fit onto a hard drive or a small portable device. At first, this seemed almost impossible. Thousands of songs, with no shelves, no boxes, no discs. Early MP3 players appeared in the late 1990s, but the defining breakthrough came in 2001 when Apple released the iPod, a true game changer. 1,000 songs in your pocket was more than advertising. It captured a genuine shift in human behavior. People no longer carried albums, they carried libraries. Playlists replaced shelves. Shuffle mode mixed decades, genres, and moods together. Music became more fluid, more mobile, and more immediate. Then the internet accelerated everything. During the early 2000s, online music stores made instant purchases possible. Instead of traveling to a shop, people could buy and download songs within minutes. And then ownership itself began to change. Starting in 2008, streaming services such as Spotify began expanding rapidly. Rather than purchasing albums or tracks, users paid for access to vast libraries of music available instantly through the internet. This marked one of the biggest changes in music history. Music had gone from live performance to physical object to invisible service. At first, streaming coexisted with downloads and physical media, but through the 2010s, faster mobile internet, larger data plans, and better apps helped it become the dominant way many people listened. That changed habits again. People explored more music, skipped more quickly, and relied increasingly on recommendations. Convenience became more valuable than ownership for millions of listeners. At the same time, smartphones were replacing dedicated music players. As phones improved throughout the 2010s, they absorbed the functions of MP3 players, cameras, maps, and more. A separate device for music became less necessary. The iPod, once revolutionary, slowly declined and was eventually discontinued. The music player was no longer a separate object. It was part of the phone. Then listening itself changed. From the mid to late 2010s, wireless audio devices surged in popularity. Bluetooth headphones improved dramatically, and true wireless earbuds became mainstream. For many people, the most important music hardware was no longer the player. It was what sat in the ears. Cables disappeared. Charging cases restored battery life automatically. Touch controls skipped songs, answered calls, and activated voice assistants. Music became frictionless. Smart speakers also entered homes, allowing people to request almost any song instantly with a voice command. You no longer pressed play, you simply asked. During the 2020s, algorithms became central to listening. Streaming platforms learned habits, moods, favorite artists, and daily routines. Personalized playlists for workouts, commuting, sleep, concentration, and weekends became normal. The machine was no longer just storing music, it was curating it. Then came another surprise. While streaming dominated, vinyl records returned strongly throughout the 2010s and into the 2020s. Younger listeners embraced physical music again, drawn to artwork, ownership, collectability, and the ritual of listening. A format once considered obsolete became desirable again. History had not ended, it had looped. By 2024 to 2026, the line between music player, assistant, and wearable technology had blurred even further. Premium earbuds introduced adaptive sound, advanced noise cancellation, spatial audio, health sensors, and translation tools. Smartwatches allowed music playback directly from the wrist. High-end portable audio players still served enthusiasts seeking studio-grade sound. At the same time, artificial intelligence entered the listening experience more visibly. AI tools could generate playlists based on mood, weather, time of day, or behavior. They could improve sound quality, restore older recordings, and personalize recommendations with increasing accuracy. The machine that once played music now understood how you listened to it. Today, the music player is difficult to define. It may be a smartphone in your pocket, a smartwatch on your wrist, wireless earbuds in your ears, a smart speaker in your kitchen, or software running silently in the cloud. The dedicated player has not completely vanished, but it is no longer the center of the story. Music itself is. And that reveals something deeper. The evolution of music players was never only about technology. It was about carrying emotion through time. People wanted comfort on long journeys, motivation during exercise, memories on quiet evenings, energy in crowded streets, companionship in lonely moments. Every generation simply built a smaller, smarter machine to do it. From the phonograph in 1877 to vinyl in 1948, to cassette freedom in 1963, to the Walkman in 1979, to CDs in 1982, to the iPod in 2001, to streaming after 2008, and to AI-guided listening in 2026, the history of music players is the story of humanity trying to keep sound close. And if history has taught us anything, the next great music player may not look like a player at all. If you enjoy stories about how ordinary inventions transform the world, subscribe for more evolution of things. Because some of the most powerful revolutions began with the simple desire to hear one more song.